Alright guys, so thank you all very much for everything that you've done for me. I'm gonna make this a little non-traditional as far as the normal 1,000 subs video goes. I kind of wanted to go the reverse and tell you guys thank you for more than what you know you've done. Right before I do that though, I see a guy everywhere. I did want to kind of tell you that it means a lot to me, and your comments and responses mean the world to me. I need to catch up on those. I've been kind of MIA lately with all the craziness going on, but I wanted to tell you about right before I started motovlogging, and it was a really rough time for me. That September I had been, I enrolled in classes that were really difficult at school on top of being shorthanded at the clinic. So I was more than full-time there, full-time school, relationship, everything like that. And both of us were going through a really hard time. And we just fought a lot. And which was sad because we were best friends and I cared about him a great deal, and we just couldn't. Both of us were going through so much stress and pressure that it was really hard to, curtail yourself in the way that you need to curtail yourself to compromise and make things work in a relationship. And that October, the very next month, my uncle passed away. He was somebody very, very special to me, but he, we had grown apart a little bit because of, family issues and things, and I was the only one he talked to on what you would call his mother's side. And busy happens, busy happens to all of us, and just kind of made it so I hadn't been talking to him a whole heck of a lot. And, which isn't good. Made it so I didn't talk to him a lot. Just because life happens, we were both busy and stuff. He was sick. He had been diagnosed with HIV and was now in the full-blown AIDS stage. And he didn't want anybody to know how truly sick he was. And that's part of the reason why, he didn't do much reaching out. What are you doing? Do much reaching out on his side of things. And so, we kind of made the best of it that we could. But I get a call one day at work, and it's my mom. And we're a very hardworking family. We value hard work a lot. And I know that she would never bother me there unless it was for a really, really good reason. And so I picked up the line and I was like, my first words are, "Hey, everything okay?" And she goes, "Well, I just wanted you to know that unfortunately, Uncle Brett had passed away. We'd found him on the porch of his partner's house, on the back porch, while his partner and his partner's daughter, I believe, were away for the weekend." And it's hard, but man, if you're gonna go, sitting on the back porch with a Coke and your cigarettes wrapped up in a blanket in a chair is definitely one of the better ways. So I was very thankful for that. From the info we had, it was just, he was tired of struggling. He was tired of the treatments and everything that he was going through, and he's like, I want to be with my mom. And both my mom's parents had passed away, and Uncle Brett was the baby of the family. I'm gonna get out of that guy's blind spot. Uncle Brett was the baby of the family, and missed his mom a great deal. And so that's what he just started telling people all of a sudden. It's like he just made the choice. He was ready. Shortly after that, my boyfriend and I broke up. We just couldn't, we just weren't good for each other at that moment. We're having a really hard time just keeping ourselves together. And I will totally admit, for every bit that I am nice, I have the other side as well, and I was not being very kind to him based on what I was going through, because I'm the strong one. I'm the one that doesn't ask or need help, and I didn't want his help. And on top of not wanting his help, he couldn't do anything right. So we ended up breaking up. School was getting harder. Uncle Brett was gone. And then we get the call from my grandma's nursing home the next month, my birthday month, that she was not doing well. And I just had it. I had it with everything. And we got that call, and I just wanted to be there. The way things used to be. This is so wrong. Because I mean, all these people that made me who I was were just suddenly gone. And I didn't know what to do. And so she progressively got worse and worse. She progressively got worse and worse. Between having the identity crisis and losing my relationship and my uncle, and now I was going to lose the person that had a huge part in making me who I am. I was just in a really bad place. And I started having just really morbid thoughts, and I started spending every waking moment that I was not at work or school with my grandma. I would go there, and the hard part is that, you know, with dementia, you have your moments where you remember and moments where you don't. Well, little did we know, at this point she had full-blown Alzheimer's, and she just looked awful. She was forgetting to eat. She wasn't drinking, and she started to turn on her nurses. And there was one day where I went, and it'll forever be like a pivotal moment in my life. I went there, and I walked in, and some reason I just hit it just right, where she was in between like pain meds and things like that, and it just, she had kind of not a moment of clarity, but she was awake. I mean, she was aware of her surroundings, and it was nice to catch her like that. But I walked up to her, and knowing what was coming, I just cried. I broke down into tears, and she put her arm around me, and she said, "It's okay, dear. Don't worry, everything's fine. Why are you crying?" And I looked at her, and my grandma was always that sweet woman. You know, you guys laugh at me because I love everybody, and I learned that from her. You know, you just care about people, and you show them genuine care and affection, no matter who they are. And I looked at her, and I said, "Do you know who I am?" And she said, "No, dear, but that's okay." And I can't describe if you've never been there. I can't describe the feeling of knowing somebody that means so much to you and has been such a big part of who you are. To look at them and know that they don't recognize you. And all of these feelings, knowing that the end is near, that you want to say. You want to be able to tell them that the reason you're such a nice person and you turned out really well is because of them and their hard work and their sacrifice for you all of your life. And to have them be there and not be able to tell them because they don't know who you are. And not only do they not know who you are, but they don't remember any of those things. And I started thinking, I was like, you know, if you lose everybody that you ever loved, because you don't even remember who they are, and you don't remember all the things that made your life wonderful and worth living, and your memories, your identity, your mind is gone. Are you still you? And I started to think about all the things I had lost. And it's like, am I even still me? And I had such a hard time with that. Especially because during this time, you know, she finally passed away in December. And December 17th. And I spent every day at the hospital or at the nursing home. She was drugged up, and I remember the last night that I saw her, which was, 2 nights after she died. I had to work late the next night, and then the night after that it happened. And the nurse that took care of her had got my cell phone number and told me she'd call me if anything happened, and she was very nice. She knew that I was pretty torn up, and I became morbidly obsessed about the thought of just being there when she goes. Because being in the animal field, you don't want them to go alone. And with all the animals that I care for, if I know that they're going to pass, I'll stay with them as long as it takes. Because I don't want them to go alone, I mean, sure, some of them don't notice, but it just, maybe it's just for me. But I became obsessed, and I spent every moment there, and then the one night I couldn't go, the very next night she died. And the nurse called and left me a message, and I called her back, and I couldn't get that nurse, but I got the front desk lady, and I was like, I got a call from the nurse. How's my grandma? And they're like, oh honey, she died about an hour ago. And I was at my boyfriend's or ex-boyfriend's house, because, despite the fact that, we had broken up and stuff, he was my best friend. He was there for me for a lot of things, and I turned to him, and he knew without me having to say a word. And I called my mom, and they were in bed, because they're people that, they've had jobs their whole life where they've had to get up at like 3 in the morning, and so they're in bed by 8 o'clock pretty much every night. And I'm calling my mom, and she's not answering, and I just keep calling, and I finally got her, and I said, Grandma's gone. And it was hard. It was, I mean, she was 96. So, in all honesty, it was, she had a long life, and I know people just say that to comfort you. And I mean, I know it's true, but it was the situation. And, so now I've had school going wrong, work being stressful and hard.
At the time, we had a lot of turnover, so there was a lot of extra responsibilities that I was taking care of, and, you know, I don't mind that, because like I said, I'm a workaholic. But, worst at school, which I need to become a vet. I can't slip with that. And, having a hard time at work. Lost my boyfriend, lost my uncle, lost my grandma. And my parents, you know, had, went to go with my other grandparents to Hawaii. So on top of that, I was alone during the holidays for the most part, you know, and I wanted to be. Like like I said, I just went through a thing where I just locked myself away. And I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I didn't want to do anything, and I started questioning what I was worth and who I was. And I was losing all these things that I defined myself by. And people that I felt knew who the real me was. And I started questioning for the first time in my life, despite through all the different bad moments and abuse and all the shit that I've been through. All of a sudden, I was just losing the will to keep going. And, that's not a good thing when you have a concealed weapons permit and a gun on you 24 hours a day. And it got to the point where I didn't carry it on me. I mean, I would leave it where I didn't have access to it most of the time, out of the sheer fact that it only takes a second to make one bad decision. And every day the decision didn't seem so bad. We had the funeral in January after my parents got back after New Year's and such. And I felt dead inside. I mean, I saw a bunch of really great people that I grew up with, and it was nice and all, but I didn't know what to live for anymore. I mean, my school, my grades, and it sounds so stupid unless you're, you know, a professional student going to try and be in grad school and everything, but I had worked 60 hours a week on top of full-time school, maintained a 4.0, and busted my ass for most of my years of college now, and felt like it was all slipping away. Like I'd lost everything of what made me who I was in the past. I lost everything that I felt was supposed to be my future, and I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then you guys came along. And, you know, I'd been wanting to motovlog. I had set my page up in, like, that December or something when my grandma passed away, or maybe even earlier than that. Because I was planning, you know, I had been steaming and making friends and watching videos, and it just made me feel like somebody out there knew what I was going through and just cared. And I didn't even have to watch videos about that. But it meant something to me. And I was building these friendships before I was even a motovlogger. And when I made my first motovlog and finally got it out, you know, of course there were hiccups and things like that. Had audio problems and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of my friends, they could tell I worked hard on it, you know, especially for a first vlog. And people were just awesome. And I started to come out of this funk. And I started to talk to people. And, you know, when you get questions about, well, what do you like? What's your favorite food? What's your hobbies? And who are you? And you become really close with these people that care about you and that think you're worth something. And you guys have done that for me. I can't say thank you enough. So to the 1,000 subscribers and the many more that watch and interact with me on Facebook and things like that, you'll never know what you've done for me. You'll never know the hole that you really pulled me out of and made me find myself. Find myself through answering your questions, find myself through talking to myself in a GoPro. You just did it for me. So, with that, guys, I will say goodnight. Thank you again. 1,000 subs. I love you very much. Take care of yourselves and remember that you are not out there alone. Peace.